Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Rady from Rady's Rides. I'm back here at Porsche Clearwater, of course in sunny Clearwater, Florida, because guess what? I have that one legend from Porsche right here next to me. What is it? It's a 2024 Porsche 911 Turbo S, and of course, this one being a drop-top Turbo S. But before we get into this high horsepower, all-wheel drive German cruise missile, let's talk about what's going on here. 911. Most people would say that's what they think of when they hear the name Porsche. And the 911 has had one hell of a journey over its evolution from the 1960s, air-cooled, to the modern era. Now, by the late 1990s, a big change was on the horizon. That was water-cooled, the first ever water-cooled 911. And a lot of the purists were upset about that, but once they saw the performance and the reliability that came with it, their minds quickly changed. Now, what's fascinating, a lot of times you'll hear me get excited about a 911 GT3, a 911 GT3 RS. Those are cars perfect for the racetrack. But if you're truly looking for the highest amount of horsepower out of a current gen 992 911, this is the way to go. The 911 Turbo has had an interesting past. Came about in the mid-1970s. It was originally called the Widowmaker just because of how difficult it was to drive and how it would bite you in a heartbeat if you made a mistake. New modern 911 Turbos, especially this Turbo S, much different story. These are truly polished supercars that have acceleration that will pop your eyeballs right out of your head. So what I want to find out is, if you're looking for the king of drop-top supercars, is the 911 Turbo S the way to go? Let's go ahead, let's dive into ours and find out. Right off the bat, the color. This is a paint to sample color, and this is a program that Porsche has where if you want to pay extra, you could have a unique color to your 911. Now at the front of the business, you're still going to get that classic style. Not round like the original 911, but that oval shape is still, you can see the lineage going back to the early days. You do have full LED projector beam headlights and a quadrant of LED daytime running lamps. These are active headlights that move with the steering wheel. Working our way down, we got that beautiful paint to sample color, nice metallic hue. And then in the lower corner area, we have functional vents, massive for the heat exchangers, a little bit of gloss black, nothing too crazy. The rest is gonna be all body color match. Now this 911 Turbo S has active aero. So what that means is when you get up to speed, the splitter drops down, the spoiler out back pops up, and that's gonna give you more downforce. That technology has been around since the 1980s with the Porsche 959. Now as we come across the front, it's one of those things that it's unmistakable. If somebody punched you in the eye and you had a black eye and your eye was swollen, you'd still know a 911 was coming your way. But I think that's also the bad thing, is that if you compare this to a McLaren, a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, those vehicles really stand out because they look so much different than other cars on the road. 911s, to the untrained eye, they all look the same. But that's what I'm trying to do, is I'm here to help you know the differences. So when you go turbo, you're gonna get this large center opening with your heat exchanger. Love the way it's got a forward-facing camera. And then as we rise up, you're gonna get that traditional style, like I said, 911 style. You got the Porsche crest, straight from Stuttgart, Germany. The hood, nice little valley in the center. Everything else just has a wonderful flow into those fenders. When we come around the bend and you go Turbo S, you're gonna get specific wheels and tires, and obviously there's many to choose from. These are the classic heritage style, machine aluminum, metallic silver. Turbo S's come standard with your carbon ceramic brake rotor. So that's what this banana yellow, this Twinkie yellow, is showing us, that you can get carbon ceramic brake rotors standard. If you wanted to, it's an option. You could get these painted black if the Twinkie yellow is not your deal. But you're looking at rotors that are over 15 inches in diameter, two-piece rotor, and like I said, carbon ceramic to give us that ultimate braking. I just love the silver. I think works really well with the wheel design. It's a 20-inch wheel in diameter, and tires up front are 255 on the width and a 35 series sidewall. This does have PASM, Porsche's adaptive suspension management system, to control the compression and rebound damping, all four corners, and the 911 Turbo S sits a little bit lower than your standard 911 Turbo. Now, as we work our way down the side, love the color match mirrors. We have our 360-degree cameras. You have body color around the windshield frame, and then you'll notice a little bit of gloss black on that side skirt. And the 992 chassis, it's real easy to tell this is a 992 because it has the flush mounted door handles. 991, the previous gen, still had your traditional door handle. So nice flush mounted door handle. Turbos get a wide rear fender opening to feed air into that flat six twin turbocharged power plant. And then when we look at the rear, it is rear wheel drive, but it sends power to the front, making it all wheel drive, but it's rear wheel drive base. You're gonna notice you've got your carbon ceramic brake rotors, all four corners, nice 4-piston caliper. And if you're wondering, well, what's the size of the wheel? 21-inch wheel out back. So 20 in the front, 21-inch in the back, 3 15s on the rear. That's like a freaking steamroller. Of course, you're gonna have limited slip diff. This thing's got launch control and everything else that you could throw at it. Now, working our way towards the rear, we have our active rear spoiler. Right now, this is in the low position, but you can raise it up. Of course, we have our gloss black vertical slots to feed more air into that flat six. Your full LED lighting, the Porsche script, 911 Turbo S. So much history with that name. And then working our way down on the rear diffuser, the gloss black. I like the way it's got the flat black on the oval tips. This is, of course, the sport exhaust to let that exhaust sing a little bit louder as you're zooming down the road, but definitely that nice wide look being a 911 Turbo S. But why don't we go ahead, let's talk about the engine and the performance of this German speed ship. All right, guys, one of the things that kind of is a zonk about the engine in this 911 Turbo S is that you can't see it. And there's other supercars like McLaren's, you can't see their engines either, but it's what's underneath the bodywork that matters. But before we just dive in, first of all, what I did was I put the active spoiler into the higher position, the wing into the higher position, just to show you how high it reaches towards the heavens. And this is a true rear engine car because the engine is past the rear axle. This is not a mid-engine car. What you're looking at is a 3.8 liter flat six twin turbocharged power plant that is putting out 640 horsepower, 590 pound-feet of torque. It utilizes an 8-speed PDK transmission. Here's where things get interesting. 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds. Quarter mile goes by at 10 seconds flat at 138 miles per hour. Top speed 205 miles per hour. Now, if you care about MPGs, it's actually quite surprising. In the city, you have 15 miles per gallon. On the highway is 20 miles per gallon. And if you're saying, well, Joe, what about a 911 Turbo? 911 Turbo has around 543 horsepower. So when you go Turbo S, that's one of the big additions, 640 horsepower. And like I said, 0 to 60 in a brain-melting 2.1 seconds. But why don't we go ahead, let's fire this up and see it move. All right, guys, we are inside this 911 Turbo S. Definitely a very, very special car, especially with the options that this one has. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, I know what supercars go for, and they're pricey. Lay it on me. How much is this 911 Turbo S? Well, starting price for any 911 Turbo S that's a 2024 model year vehicle is around $199,000. This one has a ton of options, but let's see what you get when you go 911 Turbo S over the competition. To the door panels, I love the way that this one is spec'd with that light navy blue, white contrast stitching, full leather into the off-white section of the door panel. Stitching, everything needlepoint perfect. You do have a pocket there in the door for 6 track day Twinkies, and you'll notice that we have the upgraded premium sound system with the aluminum speaker grille cover. Now going from the door panel to the dash, same story. The two-tone, the stitching, the leather, the nice silver aluminum finish. Slide on in, you do have the Sport Chrono pack, because we got our chrono clock up top. Leather extended with the stitching, more stitching, and then you have an over 10-inch infotainment system screen. You could easily go into your vehicle settings. There's our 911 Turbo S. Put on the sport exhaust. All you got to do is touch 1, 2, 3. There's other ways to do it as well. I will show you that in a second. And of course, you have your full navigation. Working your way down, this has optional front axle lift. That's for your suspension. And then of course, you're going to have your dual climate control with the metal toggle switches. Nice real knobs, a little gloss black heavy, but you have that 8-speed PDK. Love the way it's got the 911 name there. This one has the optional ventilated seats and heated seats, your power top controls, your cup holder, but you're not drinking in my Porsche. There's more of that wonderful leather. Look at the stitching. We can open this up. You got enough room for an iPhone 47 Gold Edition, and you have 2 USB-Cs, and then of course the seats. The Turbo S script, embroidery, all the stitching, the fine leather, the great bolstering. These are multi-adjustable electric assist for the passenger and the driver, of course. You do have a little bit of a rear seat, but you might be able to fit a teddy bear back there, maybe a paper mache doll or something like that. But as you can see, with the top up, plenty of headroom, and that's something that Porsche does very, very well. But why don't you come over to the business end? I have a beautiful steering wheel I want to show you. Come on over. Let me introduce you. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. You do have 3 memory seat settings. Let me get that towel off me. 3 memory seat settings in this Porsche 911. Love the way it's got the Turbo S script, the aluminum, lights up LED. Pedal box with the optional aluminum pedals. Nice large dead pedal, brake pedal, and throttle. You, of course, have your seat controls. They're a little hard to get to, but once you do, you can get it perfect to hold you and snug you like a blanket that you used to hold on to when you were a kid. I do love the bolstering here, just high enough. Even on the top side, I'm 6 feet tall. I feel fantastic in here. Let me just lower my seat a little bit. There we go, look at that. Yeah. Steering wheel, love the way it's got that grayish blue leather, that crisscross stitching. You got your drive mode select switch knob to go into your different drive modes, paddles that are metal to go up and down that 8-speed PDK, and then you have that beautiful arrangement of gauges with an analog tack that is an optional white face analog tack. Be able to focus on the important stuff and then all the other digital information. I think Porsche probably does the digital display the best because it looks like the classic 911 layout. Now you do get a frunk. You got about 4 cubic feet of space. That's not what this car is about. What this car is about is going on throttle. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go for a little spin in this 911 Turbo S. Hey guys, we're leaving Porsche Clearwater. We're in this 911 Turbo S. And right away, I say this every time. If you've never been behind the wheel of a 911, once you get behind the wheel, it just makes sense. The car makes sense on how it's designed, how it's laid out, and how it makes you feel. It is sensational. Looking around, having all of the special options, the colors, the features. I even like the way that you have the front axle lift. So if you're pulling into a parking lot and there's a high curb, you don't have to worry about that. I do have it in sport mode and just so smooth. And then you got to remember that the PDK is the gearbox that all the other manufacturers have tried to mimic. And obviously, imitation is the greatest form of flattery, but there's nothing like the original. And if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go on throttle. On throttle, here we go. Whoa! that's one of the things with this car. Say what you may about how it looks like other 911s, but when you go on throttle and that all-wheel drive just claws for traction and grip, and the sound that it makes, the thrust, the feeling, it's intense. I mean, 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds is no joke. Now I'm gonna start with the window up and the roof up, and then we'll put the top down, don't you worry. But just driving this thing, very, very special car. And the fact that it has the performance that it does is just mind-blowing. Seats are comfy for everyday driving, very supportive. And that's the thing I think a lot of people forget is that, you know, I know a lot of people are amazed with the C8 Corvette and how comfy of an everyday driver that vehicle is and how easy it is to drive. These 911 turbos were doing supercar everyday comfort way before any of the competition. Steering feels good. Obviously, suspension is amazing. And just the layout of everything, it just makes sense in here. But at highway speeds, feels good, and if you need to go, guess what? You do it. On throttle, here we go. Wow. Love the sound of that flat six with the twin turbos. Whether you shift with the paddles or let the PDK shift itself, the shifts are very smooth, very crisp, very, very quick, of course. And the all-wheel drive, you just feel so secure. Look at this. It is incredible what they've been able to do with this car. It really, really is. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the M. That's gonna allow me to use the paddles for the shifting. And then we're gonna go on throttle again. On throttle, here we go, second gear. Wow. I love it when you get off throttle because you hear this quick symphony of some pops and some bangs coming out of the exhaust. You got a nice large gear indicator. And visibility is phenomenal. Even with the top up, visibility is pretty darn good in this car. All right, guys, we have the top down, and we're gonna go on throttle here. Handle superb. On throttle! Love the top-down experience. It really allows you to be part of the history dating back to the early Porsche Speedsters, like the 550 Speedster or the 356 Speedster with the top down. Allows you to definitely hear that flat six a little bit more. Like I said, the pops and the bangs are a nice, pleasant surprise. Are you ready? On throttle, here we go, whoa! Nice, look at this. Just handles and grips so well, so well. On throttle! You don't get a lot of buffeting inside the car, which is great. The air is really going up and over. You can see the rear spoiler, the rear wing reach for the heavens. And like I said, on the downshifts, the pops and the bangs are worth the price of admission. Brakes are incredible. On throttle! It really makes your eyes feel like they're gonna detach from your freaking brain. And it's just crazy to think about 0 to 60 in 2.1 seconds. A top speed of almost 200 miles per hour. I mean, that to me is just ridiculous. It really is. But using the paddles for the PDK, they're in the perfect place. They're metal, so they feel good. You get it. You understand why 911, when you want that ultimate German performance, craftsmanship, the way you could do the options, there's nothing like a 911 Turbo S. But we gotta get back to Porsche Clearwater and wrap this one up, so I'll see you in a split second. Guys, what an experience, and it really shows why Porsche wins more races like the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the 12 Hours of Sebring more than any other brand. It comes down to what they're bringing into their street vehicles like this 911 Turbo S. But I definitely want to thank Larry and the rest of the crew here at Porsche Clearwater for getting us access to this very special high-performance 911. But let me know what you think. Is the 911 Turbo, in your eyes, the king of supercars, or are you going to go with one of the competitors? Let me know down in the comment section. But if you're new to the channel, you're on your way out, hit that subscribe button. I promise you it's worthwhile. Come back for more. If you are a subscriber, thank you for being part of the Raised Rides family. We need to thank Stephen Flood, working the magic with the cam, working the magic with his arms. He loves hugging people. If you're ever at an event, hug Stephen Flood. It might be the best hug you ever have. So show him some love in the comment section. Thank you, Stephen, for all the love that you share. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.